I love how this is probably not a good idea to do this live, but we're doing it live anyways. So Smogon is at it again with the suspect testing. This time, instead of a Pokemon or Megastone, it's an ability. Arena Trap. This ability, only used by Dugtrio, and only Dugtrio, basically stops the opponent's grounded Pokemon from switching out. And the boost Dougie got in Sun and Moon make this ability plus that specific Pokemon much stronger than it was in Gen 6. It can deal with a lot of in the OU tier and be a pretty big annoyance for everything else. Arena Trap Dugtrio is definitely as splashable, as it can remove quite a few threats from the opponent's field, from speedy sweepers to Great Walls of China. While it may seem that it's being hyped up a little bit, there are plenty of things to do against Dougie to prevent it tearing apart your team, such as hazards or bulky ground-resisted stuff. In this video, I'm going to discuss the pros, how splashable it can be, the cons, and my personal opinion of the ability, and if it should go from OU or not. So starting with the pros of Arena Trap Dugtrio, you got a lot of things that can become a non-factor with Dugtrio if played right. It can deal with the likes of Tapu Koko without U-turn, Magearna, Heatran, Non-Scarf, Tapu Lele, just to name a few. Toxapex can be dealt with by Dougie if said Toxapex is less defensive infested or has come in fairly damaged. If Dougie isn't intimidated by Mega Mawile before it Mega Evolves, he can deal with it with an EQ then Sucker Punch, if it has it. Dougie can deal with Chansey, if it's the Screech variety. Screech a couple times, let the Chansey whittle Dougie down, then reversal. He can basically remove a huge threat to your team, and possibly cause trouble for the rest of the opponent's team with Screech and Stealth Rocks. And as for how splashable Arena Trap Dougie is, he is actually fairly splashable. He can basically remove a threat that could possibly be posed by the opposing team, potentially taking away from the opponent a win condition. He can come in and revenge kill something most of the time without trouble. If played right, he could come in and deal with the majority of the opposing team before going down, and again could cripple the opponent because the opponent couldn't switch in a counter. You lose a competitive edge when you lose the ability to switch your Pokemon in and out. Also covering Dougie's weakness is fairly simple, as such as flashing in a Zard Y, or putting stuff that can deal with bulky grass or a Cella Scarm. Now of course we have the cons for Arena Trap Dougie. First up we have the most obvious thing, which is hazards, which by most Smogon players is extremely common. Rocks and spikes, etc. basically break Focus Sash, which then gives Tapu Koko with Dazzling Gleam an 81% shot to one-shot Dougie. Magearna also one-shots Dougie with Ice Beam or Fleur Cannon after the sash is broken by rocks or spikes. EQ from Dougie does not one-shot unless banded. It can be Jolly banded, but if it's not banded, it's not going to one-shot. Then we have Priority that can probably break the sash, then break Dougie if it's bulky enough or faster than Dougie, such as Bullet Punch from Caesar or Water Shuriken from Ash Greninja. Then you have bulky flying types such as Lando T, Celesteela, Skarmory, etc. Because they can switch out if needed or stay in and laugh at Dugtrio as it sits there doing nothing, or the Dugtrio can run Stone Edge or Rock Slide, but most Cella Scar meet those like M&Ms. These are just a few examples of what can help deal with Arena Trap Dugtrio. I did factor some Z moves into some calculations done with Stone Edge against Cella Skarm, but again, they just eat it like it's a giant rock candy. Now, my honest opinion of Arena Trap Doug is simple. It should go. By not being able to switch, you lose the competitive edge and potentially a win condition. Very similar to Shadow Tag in the fact there are a lot of things it can trap as opposed to Magnet Pull, which it only traps Steel types. Losing a competitive edge can make a battle fairly one-sided and even less competitive, and we want to be able to have fun and be competitive and not being able to switch and potentially losing a big playmaker is not very fun at all. In closing, just to clarify that this is an ability suspect, not a Pokemon suspect. If they get enough votes to ban Arena Trap, then we can still use Dugtrio in any tier, just not Arena Trap. Thank you, hidden ability. Yes, it'll probably drop the Pokemon's usage, but, you know, it's not about how the Pokemon is being used, it's about how it's being abused. And of course, I didn't touch on everything OU because of time constraints, and because I didn't want this to be 65 million pages long. There are some obvious things I didn't touch on, like Pokemon from lower OU or borderline UU stuff with OU viability. I also did mention Magnet Pull. That'll be for another video for another day. Now, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a comment, rate, subscribe. If you'd like to join me for live streams of Destiny 2, Pokemon Sun and Moon, etc., etc., link to Twitch is below the channel. And of course, links to Twitter and Discord are there as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And I will see you soon. God bless.